They called it the battle that would decide the Balkans. A clash of two nations, two legacies, two visions of Rome. The year is 1167. In the east stands the Byzantine Empire, the last living heir of ancient Rome, reborn under Emperor Manuel I. Brilliant, ambitious, relentless. Manuel dreams of restoring the empire to its former glory. But in the north, a rising power challenges that dream. The Kingdom of Hungary, young, bold, and hungry for expansion, has its eyes fixed on the rich lands of the Balkans. And both empires know whoever controls Sirmium controls the gateway between Central Europe and the East. For decades, Byzantium and Hungary had danced between peace and war, trading alliances, betrayals, and proxy battles. Hungary supported rebellions in Serbia. Manuel backed rival claimants to the Hungarian throne, and when Stephen III seized power in Hungary, he refused to bow. The last thin thread holding peace together finally snapped, and so, two armies marched toward the plain near Sirmium, each convinced history was on their side. The Byzantine Emperor Manuel could not lead the campaign himself. His empire was too large, too tense, threatened on too many fronts. So he chose someone who was more than a general, a man of absolute loyalty and iron discipline. Andronikos Kontostephanos, the emperor's nephew, the empire's Grand Admiral, and one of the most capable commanders of the Komnenian age. Kontostephanos assembled an army that reflected the very soul of Byzantium. Multicultural, disciplined, and deadly. Elite Byzantine katapraktoi, armored lancers, spearmen and archers drilled in Roman tactics, steppe horse archers, kumans, and pechenegs, who could unleash storms of arrows at full gallop. Italian mercenary knights, Serbian auxiliaries, and even Hungarians, loyal to Manuel. Almost 25,000 men under the double-headed eagle of Byzantium. Facing them was the Hungarian army under Count Danis of Bax. Palatine Danis, a veteran commander, respected, feared, loyal to King Stephen. His army was smaller, maybe 15,000 strong, but it was hard and dangerous. Heavy cavalry knights forged in the style of Western Europe. German mercenaries, light cavalry and infantry drawn from loyal border lords. And above all, confidence. Confidence that their charge could shatter any army. On July 8th, 1167, the two armies faced each other on a wide, open field beside the Sava River. Perfect cavalry ground. Perfect for blood. The Hungarians formed up in the classic formation of the West. Archers and infantry in the center. Heavy cavalry on both wings, ready to smash through the enemy like a hammer. Count Danis positioned himself in the center. Certain victory would be his. The Byzantines arrayed themselves differently. Kontostephanos studied the enemy line and built his formation like a trap, waiting to close. Infantry and archers in front, strong cavalry wings to absorb the initial blow. But behind the center, hidden in reserve, he placed the monsters of the empire. The Varangian Guard, axe-wielding giants from Scandinavia and England, famous for their brutal strength and unshakable loyalty. Behind them, elite Byzantine heavy cavalry and deadly Cuman horse archers, hidden and waiting. Kontostephanos knew the Hungarian charge would be furious, but he also knew that once their momentum broke, the entire army could crumble. He wasn't planning to survive the first blow. He was planning to survive everything that came after. The battle began with thunder. Hungarian heavy cavalry hurled themselves at the Byzantine flanks. Their charge was devastating. Shields splintered, horses crashed into spear lines. Entire units staggered under the impact. On the Byzantine left, the line buckled, then broke. Men fled. Some Hungarian knights peeled off to chase them, believing the battle was already won. It was their first mistake. In the center, Count Danis led the advance. Epuste had confident the Byzantines were collapsing. On the right, the Hungarian knights slammed into the Byzantine lancers. But here, the line held. Steel clashed, shields shattered. The field became a storm of dust, and screaming horses. This was the moment the Hungarians believed victory was at hand, and this was the moment Kontostephanos had been waiting for. He gave the signal. From behind the hills, the Cuman horse archers swept around the Hungarian flank. Their arrows fell like rain on the knights who had broken formation to pursue the fleeing Byzantines. Their charge stalled 10 faltered, then collapsed in confusion. At the same time, the ground shook with the march of the Varangian Guard. A wall of axes slammed into the exposed Hungarian center. Shields cracked. Helmets split. The entire Hungarian line bent under the weight of the blow. Then came the final stroke. Kontostephanos himself led the elite Byzantine heavy cavalry into the Hungarian flank. A perfect countercharge. The Hungarian army was crushed, pinned in front, shredded on the flank, harassed from behind by horse archers. Their formation broke, then shattered. What followed was not a retreat, it was a rout. Men drowned in the river. Others were cut down by cavalry or pierced by arrows as they tried to flee. 5 senior Hungarian commanders were captured. 1,000 elite knights were killed or taken. The main Hungarian banner fell into Byzantine hands. It was one of the most total victories in Byzantine history. When the news reached Constantinople, Emperor Manuel held a triumph worthy of ancient Rome. Kontostephanos rode at the head of a procession displaying captured banners and chained Hungarian prisoners. Crowds row red trumpets blared. Gold rained from balconies. For a brief moment, the dream of Roman revival seemed possible. The empire's northern frontier was secured. Hungary submitted to Manuel's overlordship, and Byzantium stood at the height of its power. But history is cruel. Less than a decade later, Manuel would suffer a devastating defeat in Anatolia. The unity of the empire would fracture, and the hard-won gains at Sirmium would vanish into the wind. But on that summer day in 1167, on the plains beside the Sava River, the Empire of Rome, through Rome, rose one last time in glory. The Battle of Sirmium was its final great roar, a masterpiece of strategy, a triumph of discipline and deception, a reminder of what Byzantium once was, and what it could have been.